Hi, this is Jean Gunderson, and today I'm going to talk about a resource for Lutherans. I think this resource can be a blessing for a lot of Lutheran families, and it is called Wittenberg Academy. This is an online academy, and for grades 6 through 12, you pay tuition, and there are classes taught. I think that each class meets for about once a week, and the students then work independently during the rest of the week. And then there's a Vespers service every Tuesday. But for grades K through 5, you enroll your children in the program, and then you just get all of the curriculum sent to you for free. This was put together by a Mr. and Mrs. Benson. And if you'd like to go onto YouTube, you can see Mrs. Jocelyn Benson talking about classical Lutheran education. So this is used by a lot of homeschoolers, and I'm not familiar with if it's used in Lutheran schools as well. I'm just not sure about that. But I enrolled my children this year, even though we are not full-time homeschoolers. My children attend school full-time, and I'm a teacher full-time, but we do part-time homeschooling. My husband and I see ourselves as our children's primary teachers. And we have been using this program a little bit because, again, we are part-time, but I wanted to show everybody what is available through Wittenberg Academy. So there is a website here, and this website is at wittenbergacademy.org, and that's where you can find out all of these different things about Wittenberg Academy. And then there is this is what my homepage looks like now that my family has access, and it has all of the classes, which I will show you in a moment. Within this, there's also the curriculum guide, and this shows the overview of the curriculum, which is great because you can see everything that's available and how they go through from kindergarten through 5th grade. And then it shows you a suggested weekly schedule for working with your children. And again, everything that they go through. Now, all of this information is also posted within each class online, but here it is for everything. So here's all of the kindergarten stuff, and then it goes all the way down through 5th grade. And then at the end, there's some reading lists. Some of the classes are for grades 1 through 5, and then some of them are grade specific. Kindergarten has its own curriculum. So there are a few places I could look. I could click on my courses. There's a drop-down menu there with what I've been to most recently. I can look over here on the left, or I can click on dashboard to see the courses. I'm just going to pop onto spelling here, and I'm just going to go through everything because I don't, for some reason, have spelling and this other thing in my my list that I'm going to go to in a moment. So in spelling, they have a manual, and this is mainly what they have are these older texts that are scanned in that you can access and either access online or print out. And then they have lesson plans that they make up that go along with them. And then each of these lessons has a word search. And here you'll see that they have the spelling words for week 1 are going to be long A, week 2 short A, and then there's copying some sentences. And that's going to be in cursive. They do start cursive in kindergarten, as we'll see. So back to my list here. And then there is this word. I do not know how to pronounce it. I've heard people pronounce it before, but I forgot. And it is effective speaking and writing. Okay, and here is a video by Mrs. Benson, and I have not had a chance to listen to her video about, I think this is mainly, this PR word means rhetoric. So here is a list of when each thing is introduced and then what to do with it. So I haven't gotten to much of this. The only thing we've done so far is kindergarten literature and kindergarten and third grade math. I have my kindergartner on math, and I have my second and third grader on the third grade math. And that's not how you're supposed to do it. It's all supposed to be together. And it's all based on the church year, with the primary texts being the Holy Bible, the Lutheran Catechism, and then the hymnal of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. Although you could certainly substitute your synod's hymnal for that. So anyway, but again, being part-time, that's all we could get to. So I'm going to go back to the grammar school here and show you, I'll get to kindergarten at the end as long as I'm here. Some of the classes. I don't have access to music, but I have access to art. And now art is going to be, again, based on the church year schedule. So it's observe a piece of art. What do you observe? How does this art teach you about the gospel reading for the coming Sunday? And then there's projects that are with some of these. So again, going along with the church year. And then down here are the projects available: coloring projects, online field trips, and stained glass projects. So that's how they do art. And the next one is catechesis. And they have a lot of resources here, and a lot of, in classical education, there's something called copywork. And it's my understanding sometimes you just do it on paper yourself, and sometimes you use things like this. So there you're writing within there. Or this, where you're writing over the dots. There's tons of resources like this, just pages and pages of work that you can do writing out of the catechism and the Bible. And then always the visuals for history, for catechesis, for art, for everything is always just included here. It's scanned online. And there are in a couple of places what your what your week would look like, and the dates of it, and then what your daily readings would be, and things like that. So that's the catechesis. And then history and geography. And how they do this is you choose a continent one year. United States has its own year, but otherwise you choose a continent, or here they group North America with Australia. And you study that with your first through fifth graders. So I have Asia is what we chose for this year. So my second and third grader would be studying from here. And then it explains items marked A are appropriate for all scholars, B more probably for 3 to 5, C for grades 4 to 5. And then it goes through the things that we're going to learn about Asia. There's lesson plans, and then all of the visuals are within there. So again, I have a kindergartner, and he could certainly listen along as we learn about Asia, but he also has his own history and geography and his own science. The kindergarten curriculum is separate. There are some things that go grade by grade, and then there are some things that go grades 1 through 5, with kindergarten being separate. And then I have access to language here. Oh, here's what we were looking at before, this PR word, which I believe is rhetoric and spelling. And then there's phonics, and then parts of speech continued, and parts of speech further continued. There's just tons of resources and stuff in here, more penmanship, other things. Again, you click on the lesson plans, tells you what you need for every lesson and every subject, and then what you would do. Okay, then literature, suggested reading schedule, and all sorts of lesson plans and resources to access for literature. And of course, like I said, they often send you back to the Bible and the Catechism. For science, each family with students, or they call them scholars in grades 1 through 5, chooses a day of creation to study that year. So we chose day 1. Now this is for our 1st to 5th graders, and that's going to be energy. Day 2 will be sky and water, 3 will be plants, 4 will be astronomy, 5 birds and fish, and day 6 animals and humans. So you choose a day, and then that is what you're studying this week, that year. And it has, again, the lesson plans and then what you should do. And then they give you information here. Do not try to use the textbook as the student textbook. Look at it yourself and make sure that they are going out and experiencing all of this stuff themselves. But you're using the Bible also as I would say your primary textbook, and learning about God's word through that science curriculum for grades 1 through 5. Math is grade by grade, and there is a textbook from a long time ago that they use as their primary textbook. And this is the first thing I saw when I got access to this program in August, a couple of months ago. I went into my 3rd graders mathematics, and besides giving us full access to the textbook, you just click on the link there. They have lesson plans, and this is where I saw it says, explain more, Arabic notation. What else happened around AD 1200? And then the kids are supposed to say, University of Paris founded, more crusades, Khan Dynasty, Magna Carta, etc. And I thought, whoa, we have missed out on a lot of the classical education that was supposed to have happened before grade 3. Now, what we are doing is just using the math book. And I do most of this verbally. So here they're learning about 9, okay? Now it starts out easy, too easy for 3rd graders, but it really builds them up. So 8 dots and 1 dot are how many dots? And then they're talking about taking things away. And then now they're talking about dividing 9 into equal parts. So now we're getting into fractions. And looking at deconstructing these blocks. How many times does D contain B? Okay, A is one part of C. So multiplication and division, which they have in here. And then there are some, we've just printed out the papers and the kids do the writing on here. But most of this I just do verbally with them. So I'll say, Albert had 9 marbles, but lost 2. Ask a question and answer it. And that gives the kids the opportunity to think about how a word problem would be worded for that specific operation. So I really like this text. I've had a lot of fun with it on Saturdays when I've used this text for my 3rd grader and my 2nd grader. I'm not sure they've had as much fun, but I think it's really good for reinforcing what they're learning in school. And again, we are doing part-time, but this is also could be used as a full homeschool curriculum. So then there's a parents lounge, but I'm hearing that most of the discussion happens on the Wittenberg Academy Grammar School, which would be kindergarten to 5th grade Facebook page. And then, so those are the things that are available for my 2nd and 3rd grader. And then my kindergartner has his own curriculum. And we do the math book as well. We do the kindergarten math book. without all the extra lesson plans, even though that's not how it's meant to be. It's just what we have for time. And then we've done the kindergarten literature. So you have Aesop's fables, and then you have the fairy tales, and then we had our own Bible. It is the original versions, I would say. There's a lot of archaic language, a lot of deaths and murders and kids being separated from their parents. So it would be something to perhaps, choose which stories you read ahead of time. The fables do have some pictures. The fairy tales, at least these fairy tales didn't. But yeah, we just read these before bed. So I did these with my kindergartner and my second and third grader all at the same time. These were some of our bedtime stories. So that was a really neat thing to have access to. And then there is kindergarten language that goes along with that. And this is where you're going to learn how to read. And there is cursive taught in kindergarten. And again, you don't have to do that because you are choosing what you're using as a parent. But some parents are choosing to teach cursive right away in kindergarten. And then there's phonics, phonemic awareness, and phonics. It's a pretty aggressive sequence here. In week 2, there's quite a lot of sounds learned. And then going back, as you can see here, to the catechism. And then there is a text with this as well. So lots of resources. And kindergarten history and geography is its own thing, whereas the 1 to 5 is all together. So they're learning about the world, the hemispheres, map, globe, earth, right away, ocean, continent, and then already talking about how long a day is and how long did it take God to create the earth, or how long did God choose to take to create the earth, and then how long does that a day mean? What does it, that kind of a thing, and making sure that the kids are grounded in the doctrines of the Bible. And then they have their own science as well. Oh, that's where, that's where they were talking about here. But some people question what the word day means. What is a creation day? So getting at that right away. So then, so talking about the days of creation right away, and then light and day, light and dark, night and day, and then the sky. So that was in the science that I was thinking of, but also teaching them about the world that God created in the social studies, and which they would call history and geography. And let's see. Yep. So that is the kindergarten curriculum. I didn't show the math, but it's, similarly set up to the other ones, more hands-on stuff, tells you what you need, has access to the book, and then some lesson plans. So you're starting out week 1 with the ones, and then circles, and then week 2 with twos, and then pairs and opposites. So lots of lesson plans, and like I said, access to a lot of materials for each of these classes. So this is a kind of an amazing thing. I mean, all I did is give my kids' birth dates and baptism dates, and they gave me full access to this the entire curricula for each of my kids, kindergarten, second grader, and kindergartner, second grader, and third grader. So I hope that this can be a blessing to Lutheran families. Thank you for your time. God bless you.